Hello, my name is Shannon Benine. I am an interdisciplinary artist, working mainly within the mediums of photography, video, and installation art. I was born and raised in the Pacific Northwest and received my BFA in photography from the University of Washington in Seattle and my master's from the University of Illinois at Chicago. I currently teach photography at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and I've lived here in the city for the past 4 years. The work you see behind me is excerpts from a much larger body entitled West Hope Above and Below. It's a project that I started in the fall of 2006 during my graduate studies when I found out that I had a relative who had recently inherited mineral rights to several oil wells in West Hope, North Dakota, and they were going out to visit them, and I asked if I could tag along, and I've been going back ever since. West Hope is a very small town with a population of 471. It's 6 miles south of the Canadian border, and it was the westernmost hope of the railroad, hence the name, and was homesteaded in 1904 for agricultural purposes. In the 1950s, oil was found in neighboring Canada, and after some test wells were drilled, they found that West Hope also had oil. It really boomed in the 80s, and it's been dwindling ever since, and it's pretty much on its last leg now. But what happened was you had these Midwestern farmers who were previously dependent on unpredictable crops in this very inhospitable landscape, turned drillers, turned millionaires, and they sold off their land rights and kept the mineral rights and have been living off of those. Well, what's going on now is that farmers are returning to West Hope and reclaiming its agricultural roots and planting biodiesel crops such as canola and sunflower. And you have these two contradictory economies coexisting literally one right on top of the other. And that's really where my fascination with West Hope lies. The hope is that if the oil can hang on just long enough for the biodiesel crops to really take root, then the town will survive, but unfortunately it's currently in a dying state. This image here is entitled Gas Flare Pit and was taken in January of 2007 on my second return trip to West Hope. Gas flares are a pretty common sight amongst the oil fields since natural gas is a byproduct of the drilling. They have these flare pits to burn that off. I was really fortunate that the time I chose to go out to West Hope was the coldest week of the year, and this was the last shot I took that day after being out in the fields all day. It was right after sunset, and it was about 40 below outside. The image above is a photograph that I took last summer on the 4th of July, and it's titled Smoke Bomb. Because I've been out to West Hope several times at different times of the year for the past 3 years, documenting not only the change in the season, but also the change in the economy, the environment, and the industry, I've become very close with several of the families there. And this one family in particular invited me out to their 4th of July gathering. They had a nice barbecue in the backyard. But here what I was interested in was the children were playing in the street with bottle rockets and smoke bombs, and they were using this old absinthe bottle to shoot the bottle rockets out of. That's why it's covered in soot. And at this moment they just set a smoke bomb on top of it. I usually don't photograph people, although my images themselves are about the people. But they do sneak in from time to time, and here you can see the shadow of the children in the lower right-hand corner as they were waiting. To me, the project is really about the effect of the current energy crisis on the domestic lives of Americans, and as a whole, the work speaks to that.